The Echo Room Part 3, the final chapter. After the police left, the house felt deathly quiet. Liam stood on the front porch, staring at the jagged edge of the lake shimmering in the morning light. He should have felt relieved. His brother and the accomplice were gone, arrested and taken far away. But the weight of the last few days pressed on his chest like a vice. The Echo Room still lingered in his mind. Its warnings hadn't just saved him. They had manipulated him, guided him to take a life. Michael hadn't survived the stab wound. The police had called it self-defense, but Liam couldn't shake the image of his brother's face in those final moments. The hatred, the pain, and just before the end, the faintest flicker of regret. Liam's hands trembled as he stepped back into the house and shut the door. He had to leave. The decision to stay had been a mistake from the start. The house was a trap, a place that twisted reality and turned time against him. He packed his things quickly, throwing clothes, notebooks, and his laptop into a duffel bag. He avoided the study, the kitchen, and especially the Echo Room, but as he zipped up the bag and slung it over his shoulder, he heard it. A whisper. "Don't leave." Liam froze, his blood running cold. The voice wasn't coming from the Echo Room, it was coming from the hallway. He turned slowly, his eyes scanning the empty space. "You're not finished yet." The voice was his own. "No," Liam muttered under his breath. "I'm done. This is over." "It's never over." The air grew heavier, the walls groaning as if the house itself were alive. Liam felt a familiar pull, the same magnetic force that had drawn him to the Echo Room before. He shook his head and turned toward the door, determined to leave. But the house had other plans. The front door slammed shut on its own, the sound reverberating through the empty halls. The lights flickered and Liam stumbled backward, dropping his bag. "Stop it!" he shouted, his voice cracking. "I'm done playing your game." "Then like the last thing." The whisper came from everywhere at once, surrounding him, suffocating him. Liam's feet moved against his will, dragging him toward the hallway. The bookcase that concealed the Echo Room slid open with a slow, agonizing creak, revealing the dim, flickering light within. "No," he said again, shaking his head. "I'm not going back in there." But the force pulling him forward was relentless. Step by step, he was dragged into the room, the door slamming shut behind him as soon as he crossed the threshold. The room was different now. The peeling wallpaper had been replaced with smooth black walls, and the single light bulb burned brighter than ever, casting harsh shadows across the floor. In the center of the room was a table, and on the table sat something that hadn't been there before, a single cassette recorder. The sight of it sent a wave of nausea through Liam. The room had never been this direct. The voices had always been disembodied, fragmented. But this was deliberate. He approached the table cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. The cassette recorder was old, its buttons worn and its metal casing scratched. A tape was already loaded, its label blank except for one word scrawled in shaky handwriting: play. Liam hesitated. Every fiber of his being screamed at him to leave, to smash the recorder and walk away. But he knew the room wouldn't let him, not until he heard what it wanted him to hear. With a trembling hand, he pressed the play button. At first, there was only static. Then his own voice emerged, distorted but unmistakable. Michael wasn't the first. Was he? Liam's breath caught in his throat. "You've been here before. You've done this before." The words sent a shiver down his spine. What was this? Some kind of trick? The voice continued, relentless. "You came to this house because you wanted to finish your story. But the story wasn't a novel, Liam. It was you." "No," Liam whispered, shaking his head. "You don't remember, but the room does. It remembers everything. Every version of you. Every time you've been here. Every time you've tried to leave." Liam stumbled back, his knees hitting the edge of the table. "And every time it ends the same way." The static returned, louder now, filling the room with a deafening roar. Liam clutched his head, trying to block it out, but the recorder kept playing. "You can't escape, Liam. You are the Echo Room, and it will never let you go." The tape clicked off. Liam stood there, trembling, the weight of the words crushing him. He wanted to deny it, to tell himself it was all a sick illusion, but deep down, he knew the truth. The memories were already starting to surface. Flashes of this house, this room, of events that felt both familiar and alien. The Echo Room wasn't just a room. It was a loop, a prison. And he had been its prisoner for longer than he could comprehend. As the realization sank in, the walls of the room began to shift, the black surface rippling like water. Liam turned toward the door, but it was gone. The room was closing in on him, and there was nowhere to run. "Wait!" he shouted, his voice echoing into the void. "You can't do this! I'll fight it! But his words were swallowed by the darkness. When Liam opened his eyes, he was sitting at his desk, staring at his laptop. The blinking cursor taunted him, the blank page waiting to be filled. He frowned, his thoughts hazy. How long had he been sitting here? He couldn't remember. The house was quiet, the only sound the faint hum of the heater. He stretched his fingers, placed them on the keyboard, and began to type. Somewhere, deep within the house, the Echo Room waited. It always did. The end.